Hey everyone, it's me Arthur Cade and welcome back to Behind the Velvet Rope. On this episode, we dive 15 years into the past to explore one of Hollywood's best actor and director relationships, experience a journey of an Irish immigrant in one of the year's best films, and see the ups and downs of what it means to be a mayor in a divided city. We are speaking with the cast of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Show Me a Hero, Tumbledown, Brooklyn, and much more, so join us behind the Velvet Rope. "15 years ago, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou gave birth to the magical relationship between George Clooney and the Coen brothers. We chat with them all about it at the New York Film Festival reunion. 15 years, man, time flies.
Yeah.
When you look back, I love this movie when it first came out. I love it more 15 years later.
Well, I haven't seen it in a long time, so I'm looking
Really?
forward. It's fun. We're going to get to sit down with a bunch of people and watch the show. I'm excited.
What were some of your favorite moments making this? I keep hearing the word fun associated with it.
Well, it was fun. Yeah, well, they're fun. The Coens are fun. All the gang, Turturro's great, and Tim Blake is great, and Holly. I mean, we just had a great time. And of course, my singing, I think you know, is probably some of the best work in the film.
One of the things I love is you and the Coens make magic together. Talk to me about what it's like working with them. It's got to be great.
Well, they're just easy. You know, they just send me scripts and go, "You want to play another idiot?" And I go, "Yeah, I'll play another idiot." And it's perfect. I think they just think of me as the idiot.
Favorite recollections of making this movie? Talk to me about it.
The first day of shooting, George had to eat a lot of corn. And, you know, it's difficult when you're doing eating scenes because, you know, when you want to eat corn on the cob all day. So it was a lot of eating and spitting out of corn. It's a scene in the movie where
I've seen this movie like 15 times.
Yes, that was the first day, I think, with George. So I remember that. And, you know, look, I mean, generally I remember the movie as being a lot of fun to make. We were down in Mississippi in the summertime. It was hot as hell. It was humid, but we had a great group of people. There was great music being done on the set and off the set, and it was a lot of fun.
I just remember we had a really, you know, the music was great, and the vibe was great, and we had a lot of fun every day. Every day was something different.
Is it crazy to see George's career since then and what's happened? It's got to be insane. Did you guys know?
I think I didn't know exactly, but I knew he was a smart fella, and he was sort of beginning to hitting his stride. And I think he's done a lot of wonderful, wonderful work since then.
In Tumbledown, we see Jason Sudeikis play a professor helping a grieving widow reconcile her husband's death. See what the cast told us. This is such a change of pace for you, this role. I really loved it, man. This guy is sincere, he's nice, he's prickly.
Sure.
Very big departure from Horrible Bosses or The Millers.
Yeah.
What drew you to this?
The script, written by Desi right there, and then meeting with Sean, the director. But yeah, it was that exact thing. I thought it was great parts for both the male and the female. I thought it was had an even older school rom-com vibe than I would say even something classic like When Harry Met Sally or You've Got Mail or Sleepless in Seattle, all of which I love. But it almost had like a Katharine Hepburn, you know, Cary Grant kind of feel to it. Not to compare myself to those guys. I think Rebecca's a lot closer than I am necessarily.
I just read a review where they were comparing you to Jimmy Stewart.
So that's all. Hey, that's flattering.
Yeah. You nail it.
But yeah, I would. It was that 100%. Yeah, that.
I love the story about the cult rock figure because I'm a music guy, so I've always been fascinated what it would like to be a journalist where you have to document somebody's life. When you start just jamming into that role, what's it like for you?
Well, I mean, I sort of came about it as a fan of music myself, and sort of, but also, you know, I'm lucky. I consider myself lucky, at least, that I get to do this for a living versus necessarily write about it or you know, critique it or anything. So for me, it was about, you know, getting inside the mind of someone that maybe can't write music, you know, that doesn't sing or anything, but loves it so much that where does that disconnect come from? And a lot of times I feel it's the curiosity that one that can't do something that is always curious about what it's like to be able to do something. And I think that's where my character is probably coming from. Is like, thinking that, oh, he must be, because he's a genius, he must be broken in some way. And yet, throughout the course of the film, we find out that, maybe Hunter Miles, the character that we're talking about, this fake folk singer, may not be the only broken one in the mix.
First movie, what's it like to have one under your belt now? It's got to be so cool, right?
Well, it's just been an amazing journey for us. It's about 8 years that we've been trying to make the film, so to have to wait that long for your first film makes it feel extra special, and getting to share it with large audiences now and sort of lurking in the back and listening to them laugh, hoping that they weep, it's really indescribable. I can't wait to keep watching it with people.
Yeah, when we started, when I started writing scenes, we were dating. We just moved in together in Los Angeles, and since then we got engaged and married and had 2 children. We now have a first grader. Like, our entire lives have sort of gone by in the creation of this film. We've, since our daughter Arden was born, Tumbledown has predated her. She's never heard of a time.
It's like a child all to itself.
Oh, it's our first conceived, but third born kind of thing. So it's sort of been our decade of making this film. So
I just don't know what we're going to talk about anymore. Like, now that the film is done.
You've got to write another one.
We'll have to get a dog.
Yes.
We'll have to get another dog.
You've got to make another one. Although hopefully it's not 8
Hopefully
years.
Yeah, in fact, our daughter Arden I said the other night as I was tucking her in, Tumbledown's premiering and now it's going to be over. We're not going to have to talk about it all the time. And she said, but the next one won't take 8 years because we're not first-time filmmakers anymore. Yeah.
When you go through the process, obviously you get Jason and Rebecca on board. I was just telling Jason, the chemistry between them is just so palpable and it's fun. There's this prickliness. They're going away, coming back, going away. When you see that brought to life, your words brought to life on screen, what's that like?
Oh, I mean, that's incredible because they didn't know each other beforehand. We introduced them during a rehearsal period, just like a read through a couple days before we started shooting, and it was uncanny to hear these lines that were written 8 years ago or something, all of a sudden just
lines
being,
that we really had been just doing between ourselves, workshopping them together and just playing the roles back and forth. And to hear Jason and Rebecca open their mouths and bring these characters to life almost exactly as we'd always dreamed. I mean,
or
from
better,
the get-go,
right.
They just filled it with so much soul and intelligence, and they're both so funny together. And I think it was a discovery for them, too, since they'd never met. That first read-through, I mean, you could see them kind of getting interested in each other, kind of falling in love with a shared sense of humor. And it just was the luck of the draw in a way that we got 2 really smart performers like them.
Every year, the New York Women in Film and Television's Muse Awards recognizes some of Hollywood's most influential and groundbreaking women, and we spoke to this year's honorees. The incredible Blythe Danner.
Oh,
this is such a wonderful honor. Talk to me about NYWIFT honoring you today.
Oh, I'm so delighted. I feel like that I'm sort of an alumna of Women in Film, because over the years they've been very kind to me at the chapter in LA too, giving me the Lucy Award years ago for television work. And my daughter that same year honored with the Crystal Award for her work in film. And my husband posthumously for his advocacy of women and minorities in our business. So I'm talking about him today. I dedicate my Muse Award to Bruce.
I feel like we're in a golden age of female actresses right now, from Jennifer Lawrence, as you had mentioned, Saoirse Ronan. When you look around at this field, what are your thoughts and what is your advice?
Oh my gosh, just keep doing it, and try to do everything you can, the young people, to really promote women. And they're doing that, with equal pay. And I think more and more of these young people are very smart, and they're insisting on more women in the productions, and if they have the power to do that. And I think it's going to be healthier and healthier, because there's so much in the public eye right now, this discussion about this.
How cool is this for you?
It's like a regular Thursday for me.
Just another Thursday. When you're not ruling empire, it's just like, I get an award, no big deal.
No, it's actually really, really wonderful. It's always nice to be honored in this way by my peers. And so I feel very grateful.
Empire. I mean, you're now regular. Becky, talk to me all about being part of the show. It's got to be awesome.
It's a really fun show. Like, it's fun to watch, but you've no idea how fun it is to actually make it. Like, it's just the best time. And we love each other so much. We're like a huge family, and some of the, like, I have a tricycle that I ride around on set, and like Taraji has this weird Japanese bike that she can control with her iPhone. She's super fancy. And so like sometimes we're on set and it's like a roller derby. It's like Bobby's World or something. Like we're all grown-ups on our bikes. It's fun.
What does this honor mean to you?
Well, the world. It's everything. It represents, you know, things that are important to me in life. It's women celebrating me. These extraordinary women here today. I love her more than life. She's so stunning. And Blythe Danner, one of my all-time heroes in the whole world, and one of my muses. And you know, my mother. I grew up in a very strong house of you know, I have 4 older sisters and a mother who is a major leader in the political world in New Orleans. So I love strong women. I think we make each other better, and I'm thrilled to be here and be celebrated. I'm tickled.
It's really crazy to think that all of these people that are my peers are giving me an award for telling dirty jokes about politicians. It's kind of awesome.
For those who don't know, Liz is one of the co-creators of one of my favorite shows of all time, The Daily Show. How much do you think John is missing this Donald Trump situation right now?
You know, I think that John had the infinite wisdom to, when he left The Daily Show, be like, I need a break. I'm going to have to make my peace with what's going to happen that I can't respond to. But we're going to see him on HBO, and he's going to be doing good stuff. But there is a little bit, I know, of like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Yeah.
He's probably writing jokes on his notepad and on his couch right now.
Actually, he's probably taking this time to weep for humanity.
What do you think of the job Trevor's doing so far?
He is adorable and smart, and this international perspective, especially from a South African man of color, is really cool.
Congratulations. What an awesome honor. What an awesome organization. What does it mean to you?
It means a huge amount. I mean, I'm British, so I get a little embarrassed in these situations. But honestly, I'm so flattered and delighted to be part of this extraordinary group of women. So I just have always been a long-time fan of the work that New York Women in Film and Television do as well. So it's really meaningful. I'm really delighted.
This is going to be a lot of fun. The Muse Awards is great, and New York Women in Film and Television is great, but I'm not that great at the step and repeat, stand and sort of, I'm not that great at it. It feels a little weird. I don't know where to put my hands, and there are all these Oprah had a thing. Yeah, apparently, but I know you have to sort of have one thing here and suck this in and angle this, and I feel like just, ooh. But anyway, having said that, how are you?
Good, yeah. I didn't even have to get my question out about what it's like to MC. You've already answered it.
The MCing part is great fun because we're honoring wonderful, wonderful, accomplished women, and I've got a funny story to tell about being a woman in film and television, but it's just the awkward celebrity-ish stuff that is weird, and I'm sure there's a piece of lint or my bra showing, so there's that, but I give it the best shot I can.
HBO's critically acclaimed miniseries, Show Me a Hero, examines a controversial battle for segregation in Yonkers in the 1980s. We caught up with Golden Globe winner Oscar Isaac and the brilliant cast at the premiere. His story, Nick's story, such a fascinating story, and it's so relevant today. Talk to me about, A, what drew you to this, but also telling this incredible and powerful story.
Well, I remember Paul, when I first met with Paul, he said, I want you to do this because I have no idea how you would do it. And that's always a great challenge for an actor when someone throws the gauntlet down like that. So I didn't know how I would do it. And I saw footage of him, I saw tapes of him, and he just broke my heart because I saw someone that was in over his head and trying to do the right thing but not knowing quite how to do it. And I get drawn to stories of regular people in extraordinary circumstances.
It's such a brilliant, brilliant look at all sides of how desegregation can affect the neighborhood. Talk to me about telling this powerful story. It really was just remarkable to see.
Talk to them.
David?
Talk to them.
Here's what happened. David and Bill brought me a script that was brilliant. That was the truth. My job was just to make it look like and feel like the truth. And that's what I endeavored to do. But it came from, I signed on because of these guys. and I think I was proven right. It's a wonderful story, a deeply touching story that doesn't try to pander to any one side. It doesn't try to tell a simple story. So,
yeah, I mean, I think ultimately there's this beautiful Shakespearean tragedy of Nick Wasisco that's embedded in an issue. So you get to do two things. You get to drive the story with something that's about character, and that is augmented by all these other stories of how this fight affected everybody in this place called Yonkers. But also you get to argue something, and we get a lot of fun out of like doing entertainments. And there's nothing wrong with entertaining people, and that's 90% of what our job is. But when the 10% kicks in and you actually can contribute to the argument that needs to happen, and race and the idea of a shared society is an argument that has to happen now. And we're seeing that all over the country. It's a good thing.
The relationship with you and Oscar, it's incredible because Oscar really experiences this enormous fall from grace as a mayor to essentially killing himself, but you're supportive the whole time. Talk to me about building that relationship with him.
Well, I worked very closely with the real Nye Wasisco. And one of the things she told me was I was his cheerleader. And even though I could get mad, that would only last for 2 seconds. I was there to cheer him up and bring him up, because that's what people that love people do.
Talk to me about telling this wonderful story.
Well, it's a hard story to tell, but it's a story that we're living, unfortunately, still living today. It's just that, we hope that everybody will understand that the dialogue must continue, that we have a moral obligation to learn about everybody that lives, that we have to live within this country, and hopefully it will spread into the world, because the same problem that we end up having trying to dialogue with each other is the problem that we're having trying to dialogue in the world. So until we can get it straight and be willing to meet each other, to know that everybody, human beings want the same thing in life. It's not just the American dream, it's the dream of a better life in the world.
We spoke with newly engaged Dancing with the Stars pros Maskim Chmerovskiy and Peta Murgatroyd at JCPenney, where they served as ambassadors for the Xertion fitness line. Congratulations. I remember when your engagement video hit the internet, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. How far ahead was that planned?
It took a little planning, only because we were in the middle of a very big project, and this was a stage production involving a lot of people, so I tried to make it so 3 out of close 100 that were there knew of this. So a few of them, believe it or not, first of all, it's impossible in our family, but people got mad. They're like, I can't believe you didn't tell me. I'm like, it's my engagement, it's my surprise. So many people were mad. Like,
I got back to LA and my best friends were, I can't believe he didn't invite me.
I thought we were closer. So yeah, anyway, but no, it was great. It was great. I waited though. I wanted, because we're kind of a private couple, and we don't let things in public just like some whatever reality stars do. I did want this to be a very public thing. I wanted everybody to see it the one time, and then that's it. You know what I mean? So I waited till everybody in the audience had their phones up. I kind of gave that speech, and I was like, okay, cool. I see like 10,000 cameras. This is a good moment. The whole speech was very quick.
Did you have any idea it was coming? I mean, I remember when it went viral. First of all, did you imagine that it would get the reaction that it did? And then, did you imagine it was even coming?
I didn't imagine, first off, that he would do it in that setting. Because he is so private, I really thought that he would do it at home or at dinner or something like that. I maybe thought, the funny thing is that I saw family members really inching forward towards the stage as he was talking, and they had cameras up. I was like, what is
which,
going
by the way,
on?
It's not because they knew, it's because there was a guest. They were like, wait a minute. I think this might be happening. I swear to God,
Nicole
they didn't know.
Everybody,
They assumed, and they were so convinced that they were there just in case. Had it not happened, they'd be like, okay, well, I guess we were wrong. But they just kind of guessed right. I'm like, damn it. And she sees all of them inching up to the stage, which never happens.
And I was like, oh, what's happening? And then I start looking around.
Why is Mom standing by the stage
Mom
like
is there,
this?
and Grandma's there. This is not right. Something's not right.
So we're here in JCPenney in Manhattan Mall. You guys get to dance with strangers. Tell me why you're here.
It's part of
JCPenney's campaign, New Year, New Me, and basically just, a lot of people started the New Year's resolutions now, and we're helping. What is a better way to get active and get into that lifestyle than with dancing? I think at this point, dance is kind of like a gateway to becoming a little healthier and get yourself going. We love dance.
Yeah, that's how we stay active.
That's
and
how we
fit,
stay
and
active and fit. Exactly.
If we could just change some of these people's lives to get them to sign up to do some sort of dancing, would be awesome. I mean, it will literally change their life and their body.
Few films this year pulled at the heartstrings quite like Fox Searchlight's Brooklyn. We chatted with two-time Oscar nominee Saoirse Ronan about portraying an Irish immigrant in New York torn between two worlds. See, everybody screws up your name, Saoirse. I know your name, but can you pronounce my name?
So it's Arthur.
Yes.
Okay. Art. I'll just call you Art. It's easier.
I like that.
It's tough.
You can get away with it.
The struggle's real.
The struggle is real.
I face it every day.
First of all, the struggle is not real having a film at the New York Film Festival. How cool is it? This is such a New York movie. Talk to me about having it here.
It's the best. It really does mean so much to us to have made a little film that, we didn't make for an awful lot of money, and we shot kind of very tightly within 2 months, and we got everything done, and we're very proud of it. And it really, for myself and John and Finola and everyone really that's involved, the film represents home for us. It represents kind of who we are, and I don't think you have to be Irish in order to have that relationship with it. So to then take that back to New York, it feels like we're bringing it back home,
This gives such a unique and real telling of what it was like to be Irish during that time.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the historic representation that comes with this film.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's funny because there's certain things in the film, I think when it comes to her relationship with Tony and how they court each other and all these sort of social hurdles that you come across that were very specific to that time, and the aesthetic of it was very specifically kind of 1950s. And beautiful and romantic because of that. But I think the struggle that this character goes through and emotionally the journey that she's on is universal and it's timeless. And I think that's the beauty with a story like this, is that it's kind of, I don't want to say it's simple, but it's a very real journey, that we've all gone on in our own way, whether you've just left to go to college or you've moved out of your parents' house and moved to the next state over, or whatever it is. It really is essentially about homesickness, and I think that's a very kind of timeless thing, so a very timeless notion.
Beautiful, beautiful movie, beautiful love story. Why'd you decide to make it?
Because it dramatizes what it feels like to be an immigrant in a way that's incredibly powerful emotionally, and also felt very fresh because it was from the point of view of a young woman. And there are a lot of immigrant stories, and they often tend to be about men. So it felt like it had a freshness and an emotional immediacy to it.
This Saoirse Ronan, I mean, what a talent. Talk to me about getting to direct her.
It was incredible, obviously, but it was also great fun because she's very sort of tough and witty, but incredibly hardworking and very prepared, which is rarer than you might think in young actors. She works so hard and is an emotional powerhouse. I mean, what she's expressing in the film, a lot of it she had gone through in the year leading up to the film, which was stuff that you can't direct, which is she had moved away from home and had been really affected by how homesick she was. And so when it came to actually shooting the film, all of that emotional sort of vulnerability and rawness was available to her.
Cynthia Nixon and Rosie O'Donnell have teamed up to direct and produce a new off-Broadway play focusing on a lesbian single mother raising her daughter. Here's what the influential actresses told us about their crusade for LGBT rights. One of the things I admire just incredibly about both of you is your activism. Talk to me about the fight for LGBT rights, because I think two of you have been at the forefront. This show is a great example of it. Talk to me about furthering that fight.
Well, it is, the civil rights movement of our time, and when I was a kid, I used to look at the photos from the '60s and think, would I have been the person at that soda fountain who stood and got screamed at and ice cream thrown on them when the African American students wanted to sit down and eat there? Would I have had that kind of guts to be for something that was so evidently and morally and humanely the right thing to do at a time when people were saying it wasn't? So to have lived through that and to be 53 years old and see the Supreme Court say that gay people are in fact entitled to the same rights as straight people has been an overwhelming life journey for me as a gay person.
I'd love to hear your thoughts as well, Cynthia.
Yes, I think the victories are astounding that we've had in the last number of years, and I think we're at an amazing place, but I think it's really important to remember that there are many parts of this country where being LGBT is still very, very, very difficult, and certainly there are most parts of the world it is very dangerous to be LGBT and to be out, and still trans people in this country have enormous troubles, and LGBT youth of all kinds have a lot of trouble getting kicked out of their houses. We've got so many street kids now who are turning to prostitution just as a means of surviving, and in the same way that the AIDS crisis was something that brought the LGBT community together, I think these street kids and their terrible plight is something that we've got to step up for.
Well, that's it for another fun episode. Make sure to join us again behind the velvet rope.